Israel and the Jewish world and your relationship. And the question will be, what is the gap between the old relationship and reality, and what does Ruth suggest should be the new relationship? Becky, the floor is yours.
Okay. I'll be the facilitator. So, as Martin said, we're going to open up to questions because I think we all believe that when we ask questions, we hear the answers, that triggers more questions. And that's where we learn the most. So, please ask Martin anything you would like about Israel and what he spoke about.
I want the question short, the answer long, so most people can answer. That's the only way we can do it here, unfortunately. And I'll be back.
Short and directed.
Guy.
So Martin, how do you see, or how does the Ruth see the demographic, I don't know if it's a problem, with Israeli Arabs and Arabs being more, not the 20%, but say in 20, 50 years there'll be more percentage and it's a democracy. So, are they going to take over? How do we keep it Jewish and not have, like the Muslims, have too much power?
Okay, I'm doing something which normally a lecture doesn't do. I will answer every question. Otherwise I won't lose questions on the way. The ones I don't like. Re'ut sees in Israel 5 major questions that are the relevant gap. The first question is Israel among 100 million Muslims. What do we do? The second question is national Israel. The gap between the national Jews of Israel and the national Arabs of Israel. Quickly I will say to you there are 7.5 million Israelis, 5.5 million Jews, 350, those who are interested in this, you should write this down, 350 non-halachic Jews. Who are the non-halachic Jews?
Russian immigrants.
The Russian immigrants. There was somebody in the 20th century, who I'll not mention his name, who said, I don't care if you're Jewish or your mother's Jewish, but if your grandmother's Jewish, you're finished. The Havdil, hundreds of times, the Orthodox, the ultra-Orthodox in Israel saying, if a Russian cannot prove 3 generations back that his mother was Jewish, he's not Jewish. Therefore, there are 350,000 Russians in Israel who can't marry a Jew. And there are 1.5 million Arabs, which are Muslim, the majority, Christian. There are also a Druze, and there's also Cherkessi who go into the army. So that's the second question. The third question is the Jewish question. From the ultra-secular to the ultra-Orthodox. How do we make a Jewish state? The fourth question is economy. How could a Jewish state have the most unequal standard of living in the Western world? Between the people who make the most money and the people who make the less. That is Israel today. America's similar, but we've gone from 77 we were very egalitarian to 2011 we're very non-egalitarian. And the fifth question is governance. How can you run a country who has so many problems with a coalition? Now you should know in the Knesset there are 120 members of parliament. The biggest party today in the Knesset is 28 members. In other words, the biggest party in the Knesset is less than 25% of the Knesset. So in order to do anything, you have to have a coalition. And Re'ut is saying every one of these 5 problems in a new coalition. So we're looking, to answer your question, we're looking for partners not only in the government. We're looking for partners in local government, because local government people get picked for 5 years. We're looking for partners in the philanthropy world and the Jewish world. We're looking for partners in the business sector. And we're looking for partners in the NGOs. Now to your question. The Israeli Arabs have been asked time and time again, if there was a Palestinian state outside of Israel, would they leave Israel? And the answer has always been emphatically no. Why should we leave this standard of living in this democracy to go into a Palestinian state? But the real problem with your question is, what will happen if there's a one-state solution and not a two-state solution? A two-state solution is saying taking Israel and the West Bank and making 2 separate states. One a Jewish democratic state, let's say the 67 borders plus minus is 80% Jewish, and making a Palestinian state in the West Bank and in Gaza. What will happen if there's one state? One state from the sea to the desert. What will the Israeli Arabs do? And Re'ut says the biggest danger to the Jewish state is a one-state solution. And you should know, in 2008, not 2 days ago in the New York Times, In 2008, Raoult said Israel has to announce a provisional Palestinian state in provisional borders to put a marker down for the two-state solution, which unfortunately the Israeli government hasn't accepted as of yet. Raoult said we are not political, but if we look at all the options on the table, we have to announce a Palestinian state in provisional borders before the Palestinians in September go to the United Nations and do it themselves. Now, I will add on a piece that I suggest you think about. Does anybody in this room know who Meir Dagan is? Guy, very good, don't tell him. Nobody else knows who Meir Dagan is? You know, and you know. Meir Dagan is probably one of the most important Jews in the world up till 3 weeks ago. After 3 weeks ago, he's nobody. Meir Dagan was 8 years the head of the Mossad. 8 years the head of the Israeli Secret Service, and because his chain of office was, he was re-elected 4 times, 2, 4, 6, 8, the government, both governments, left, right, centre, think that Meir Dagan was a very good guy. Meir Dagan answered your question 3 or 4 weeks ago in the government, when they said to him in the government, thank you very much, you're now going. And Meir Dagan said, I want to tell Israel what is the biggest strategic danger to the state of Israel. What did he say? What would you say? Think about it. What would you say?
Are we having one statement?
One statement. This is not America. One statement. Think about it. What would you say?
I'd say demography. You know.
Demography. What would you say, Martin?
Not having a Palestinian state.
Okay. Would you like to offer?
So I'll go with that.
Iran.
Iran. Everybody thought he would say Iran. He didn't say Iran. He said something which is mind-blowing. He said the biggest, remember this is a guy the head of the Secret Service for 8 years, the biggest strategic danger to Israel is losing the support of the Jewish people. How are we going to lose the support of the Jewish people if there's a one-state solution? He said there's a one-state solution and it becomes apartheid South Africa. He's saying the American Jew who loves Israel will not back a one-state solution where there's no democracy. So Meir Dagan is saying, if Israel is only a small country in the Middle East, it's got no chance. If it's part of the Jewish people, it's got a chance. And we have to understand we cannot afford to lose the support of the Jewish people. So Raoult is saying very clearly, Guy, and they said it for 2 years, you should know, I don't know if I'm allowed to use all these names here, but I'll use them anyway. I had an amazing meeting with Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, which I have to tell you, this woman listened for an hour and a half. Now, me speaking to many Israeli politicians who don't listen for a minute and a half, I thought this was very impressive. And I had about the whole, what I'm discussing, and what America should do and what it can't do. Israel has to go for a preliminary Palestinian state and provisional borders in order to try and cut back the ability that somebody else will tell us one state. And you should know, in Israel, the ultra-right wants one state, because as Bob Dylan said, God's on our side. And the ultra-left want one state, because they think it'll be democracy. Believe me, if there's a one-state solution, it won't be democracy and it won't be Jewish. Next question. Name.